All right, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the SketchUp software. Now, all of our woodworking plans come with a completed SketchUp model. And to me, this is a very big deal. So if you don't know anything about SketchUp, I really encourage you just to take the next few minutes and familiarize yourself with exactly what SketchUp is. Now, years and years ago, when I first started doing 3D modeling, SketchUp was actually free. And now you fast forward probably 10 years, and now, of course, they have a version that you can buy for the iPad. They also have a desktop Windows version, but they also have a free version called SketchUp for Web that works through a web browser. And that's what we're going to focus on is the free version. So let's go ahead and just type in SketchUp for Web. The one thing that's a little bit strange here is the online free version is kind of hidden. It's not really that openly noticeable. If we click on the second option here, it'll take us to a SketchUp for Web where it talks about how to use SketchUp for Web, but I couldn't find where we actually click on a button to actually go into the software. But if you choose that very first one, it says Google SketchUp for Web, then that will take us to this website. Now, one thing to point out, when you use SketchUp the first time, it will ask you to create a free online account or sign in through your Google account or through Facebook or something like that. You have to tell them who you are the first time you use it. Now, from then on, you don't have to do that. So we'll just click on this button that says Start Modeling, and it will just take us into the online SketchUp app. Okay? So it does take a few seconds to load the software. But I think you're going to find in your woodworking shop this SketchUp is an absolute invaluable tool. If you learn how to actually create your 3D models with SketchUp, you can create your projects on the computer before you actually go to build. And I think you'll find that that is super helpful. So here we are in SketchUp online. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up one of the completed models that we get with our woodworking plans. And we're going to show you some of the things that we've done for you that I think you really appreciate having. So this is the completed project, as you can see. So it's in our 3D form. If we come down here and click on this button, which is called Orbit, we can spin this around and you can really take a look at the completed project. We can go up like this, so we could totally spin it around and see exactly what this looks like completed. And I think that's a really invaluable tool myself. Also, if you get used to using keyboard shortcuts to go into orbit, we would just hit the O key on our keyboard. And see how when you hover over these tools, it gives you that O for orbit. And then another one is your tape measure tool, T for tape measure, and so on. Okay, so I think you'll find that pretty helpful. Now, one of the things that we've done for you is we've created a series of scenes for you. So it kind of breaks down the project in the order in which you would build the project. So let me give you an example. Come over here to the right hand side, you see where it says scenes? We'll click on that button, and then down here you see where it says my scenes. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and these are all the scenes that we've created for this particular project. So the very first scene, we'll click on it, and it's going to tell you, well, this is our front 2x assembly. So this will show you the first step of the project. We want to build this front panel. Now, the actual specifics of what boards we're going to be using and all of that will be in the woodworking plans to show you how to build this front panel. But if we want to pull dimensions right from our model, it's super simple. So we're going to hit T for tape measure, and if I want to know how long this board is here, you can see it says it's 34 3/4. If I want to see where this board is placed from the bottom, we could see that it's placed at 16 inches. So if the plans don't give you a dimension that you really want, we could just walk over to our 3D model, grab our tape measure tool, and see what the 3D model tells us it should be, and then boom, Bob's your uncle, we're in business. we can get back to building. So one of the things that I have is I have the, it's $120 a year, but it is the iPad version. So I always have my iPad out on the workbench. So if I'm working on a project and I forget to have a dimension in the plans, or if I just want to know a specific dimension that's not included in the plans, I could just pull up the 3D model and take a look at it, and I'll know what that dimension is. So I personally find that extremely helpful. So this is the first step of our assembly, and then we're going to build our side assemblies. So we have the side assembly there, and then the next step is to put the side assemblies onto the front assembly, and then we can add our counter support. So we added this board out back here, and then we added these two boards, and once again, if we want to know where those are located, we can just click and click, and there we go. We know that that's at 16 inches, so very easy to get any dimension that we need. Next step, we're going to add our shelf support. So we add a board across here, plus these two, and then we're going to add our outer skins. So these are our fence pickets for the side, our fence pickets for the front of the bar, our side trim boards that we just added, our front trim boards, okay? And then we're going to spin this around, and it's going to show us that we added our shelf boards there. And then lastly, our countertop assembly. Now, if I want to take a look at that countertop assembly, we can do that by going back over here, and let's open up tags. And if we look, these are various layers that we've created, or tags. They used to be called layers, now they're called tags. But I can delete, for example, just the outer skin, or I can delete the front trim, or I can delete my shelf boards, and see how I can delete them, and you know, you can just visualize it better. I'm going to delete my outer skin, my side trim boards. So you can see there my shelf boards here. I'll go ahead and get rid of those. And then I'm going to go ahead, for this example, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my main 2x frame as well, because I just wanted to show you how we can kind of visualize things here. And this is how the top was assembled. Okay. So we can use that orbit command, and we can see that what we have is we have 4 fence pickets, and then we have a fence picket going in the opposite direction, and one on this side, and then we have a thinner one here. So for example, this is a full width fence picket at 5.5, and then this piece here is only 2.5. Okay, again, the plans will kind of tell you how all that works, and of course we have our build video, but if you don't have that information, that's where the 3D model comes into play, and super easy. We want to know where that's located exactly. That's 21 3/4, and there you go. Okay, so then we could just turn all this back on. We can go back over to our scenes and go back to my scenes, and that will kind of take you back to our beginning process of building it. Okay, so that is just the very basics of using SketchUp. There's lots to learn, but that is the very basics of how to use it, and how I think you'll find having this completed 3D model very, very useful. Now, I'm going to give you just a quick little thing here, okay, just to kind of blow your mind and say, hey, I need to learn this. If you don't already know it, I need to learn it. Okay, so let's just say this is a 5-foot bar, and let's say that we want to make it a 4-foot bar. Okay, so all we would have to do is you just click on this, and then we'll click on it again, and then watch what we can do here. I'm going to hit my P key for push, and if I edit this one and I move it back 12 inches, I'm just typing in 12 in my keyboard. You see what I did there? I just moved that back 12 inches. And then if I do the same thing on this one, hit P, move it back 12 inches, you see how both sides moved? So now I've moved that back 12 inches. And now I'm going to move this right back to here. And now I only have a 4-foot counter. Okay. And I could just, continue on from there. So if I click on this board, hit P, we know how far we got to move it back, right? Because we moved it back 12. So there we go. So we moved, and you see how the bottom board got trimmed along with the top board. And then we'll go ahead and move this into place. We know we have to move it 12 as well, right? Because we moved everything else 12. Well, we don't need this board no more, and we don't need this board no more. And the same thing here. We're just going to come out here. We know we have to move that back, but look at how all the boards change at once. Okay. Same thing here. We'll click here. We know that this board here has to move back. I'll tell you what. Sometimes it's easier to hide some geometry. So this is kind of in our way of seeing our shelf board. So that's okay. We can come up here and we can hide this. Actually, if we just right click and choose hide, so now we can kind of see this geometry a little bit better. And so we can continue on and edit from there. And so it's really easy to edit a model to make it whatever we need it to be. But that obviously is going to take a little bit more skills for you to fully understand how the software works and what have you. Okay, so the main takeaway here is you open up the 3D model, get familiar with it, take a look at the scenes that we've created for you, because that will kind of walk you through the assembly process, and then also take a look at your layers, because everything is stacked in your layers so you can build your projects a little bit more easily. Like I said, I think you'll find that SketchUp model to be a real valuable addition to the printed woodworking plans. So I hope you learned a little something here, and I hope you give SketchUp for Web a try, because I think you'll find it to be quite useful. Thanks for watching.